All right. And then scoot over this way just like an inch.
Okay.
There we go. Then you can see yourself. All right. Cool. Ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Really excited. So it's just super casual.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah. So do you just want to introduce yourself and your business and we could just start like that?
I'm Jarita Blakely and I'm the owner of Heavenly Hands Consulting. We specialize in residential and commercial cleaning and other services.
Okay.
Yes.
What are some of the other services?
Oh my gosh, you name it. We do carpet cleaning, window cleaning, gutter repair. Gosh, you name it, we do it. And if we don't, we'll do it. We'll find a way to do it.
Right. So I was looking at your website
Okay.
and some of your social media, and one of the cool things I like about your company that I think is a little unique
Okay.
to and there's not many like this, which is when there's some cleaning companies out there just kind of specialize in, they basically want you to clean up before they get there, and then they're gonna do kind of the deep clean, like they're gonna mop the floors, they're gonna kind of do the deep clean of the
Yes.
grout and everything like that. But I feel like for most people, if you're hiring a cleaning company, it's because you don't have time to clean your place.
Exactly. Those are our clients, the ones that don't have time to do it. Or everybody's not a cleaning person. So everybody's not into cleaning, but they want their home clean. So they call us. So no one should be picking up their stuff and getting organized for us to come. We're going
Right.
to come in and take care of everything.
Now, how many of your clients do kind of tidy up a little bit before you get
I
there?
believe probably most of them. And I know this because before I got into this business, I had a home and I kind of got introduced to the cleaning. I would have someone come in and it was nothing for me to pick up before they came. And my
Right.
mother does it too. So my mom gets her home clean and she picks up. So I know my clients probably pick up before we get there.
Do you ever like, can you ever tell, like, are you just like kind of walking in and you're like,
Well, I will tell you,
this is what you hired us for, guys? Like,
and I can tell, and some of my clients, their home is already impeccable. Just tidied up. So I'm sure those clients especially pick up. Now I have some that don't,
yeah.
but most of them do. And you can tell. And some of them even dust and stuff before we come.
Do you charge a different price do you charge based off of hourly or just kind of like a set price?
So we basically, when I come out and I do the estimate, I go back and I calculate how many hours it's going to take. So the clients aren't necessarily paying by the hour. So we do it about in reference to how long, and we also do it based on the size of the location.
Okay.
So and how much cleaning is needed. Some of our clients want a deep clean, and some of our clients want a regular clean, and so those prices vary.
Okay.
We like to do deep cleans. We would prefer and recommend that you do a deep clean, so then when we come back in later, it'll be fine. But some people like, no, they're on a budget and they just want a regular clean, and so we do that.
And have you ever gone to a place, priced out what it might be like, and then you get there and you go, oh shoot, this is going to be more?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, about a couple of months ago, I gone in and I did an estimate, a bid, etc. for the client. Thought I had it down pat. We get there and they call me and they go, hey, this is a lot more. So that's when I dove in to try to help, to kind of, keep up with the time and everything. So absolutely, I have, I guess I'll say, underestimated an account.
How exactly do you handle those situations? So one situation where you get there and you might have underestimated, but another situation where you get there and the place is a wreck compared to what you last saw. Like, how do you handle that?
And so what happens in that case, when my people call me and tell me that takes place, I'll give the client a call immediately. Okay. And we'll discuss how they want to handle it. I'll say, hey, when I came, because usually it may be 2 or 3 weeks prior that I came to look at it. And I'll say, hey, when I came, this is what I saw. I took pictures and this is what we estimated. But we've gotten here and there's a little bit more, so there's going to be an extra cost.
Okay.
And usually the client isn't bothered by that because I call them at the beginning. Like, as soon as we get there and we notice there's going to be a problem, I call and say, hey, how do you want us to handle this?
Okay. No, that's super smart. I love that you take pictures beforehand because that's
Oh, I
super
take pictures
smart.
of everything. When we go in, the people who clean, they know exactly what it looks like, blah, 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 because I've taken pictures of every single space in that particular office or residential.
And where do you service? Like, where are your service areas?
Oh my gosh, we go anywhere. I mean, we go as far out as Lake of St. Louis. We even cover some commercials and residentials in East St. Louis. So we'll go pretty far.
Okay. And then where are you based?
We're based in St. Louis, the St. Louis area.
Okay. So I'm from Florissant originally.
Okay, and that's where my office is actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have like a physical location that people can go into? Or?
I have an office in my home.
Oh, in your home. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm from. I grew up at Vale and Old House Ferry.
Okay, yeah.
Right by,
I know exactly
Barrington.
where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to. So that it's so funny. There's, right there, if you go up Vale just a little bit towards Sioux Passage, there's all those like big giant houses right on the right in the baseball field.
Yes,
we used to ask the people there. Me and my friends would play baseball on that field there, and then every once in a while we'd play baseball practice. And there was a couple times where playing practice and Cedric the Entertainer comes over and just watches practice.
Hey,
and we're like, what the heck?
And actually his mom at one point lived over in that area.
Yeah. Just the first house right when you go into that neighborhood, that was them. And so he'd always come out when he was in town. He'd watch us practice.
I know exactly what
really
you're speaking
cool.
of. Yes. Cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how do people find you? Like, how do people really, like, how do you get most of your business?
Now, first of all, we have exposure on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Instagram and LinkedIn. But most of my clients are referral based, and I prefer it that way.
Why is that?
Because that's, in my opinion, that is a more solid lead if they're referred. I'm already comfortable with, somebody knows them, so okay, they're probably cool people, et cetera, et cetera.
That makes sense. What is business like for you right now? Like, is it one of those things where you have the amount of business that you want and you're like, I'm kind of happy this way? Or are you trying to grow? Are you trying to hire?
Oh no, I'm definitely trying to grow. Not hiring right now, but I'm definitely trying to grow. This is like right now, usually between that first quarter of the year, between January and March, it's kind of slow for the type of client that I service, and then it ramps up.
Okay. Do you service a lot of businesses?
I do. I do a little of both. So it's pretty balanced. It's pretty balanced.
That's cool. What now the businesses that you serve, are it typically like big office buildings, or do you
maybe like golf courses, like the central area, the main area of golf courses, and the bathrooms, churches. We've done schools before, so it's just, it's a wide variety.
Okay.
We even service a farmhouse, so it's seasonal. So we go in and we clean, at a certain time of the year. So it's all over the place.
And how many people do you have on your team?
Oh my gosh.
Do you do a lot of the cleaning yourself, or are you more just the business developer?
I'm the business developer,
That's awesome.
The organizer. I do the selling, and then I have other people who are out there doing the cleaning or whatever services are needed. So it varies, with the cleaning. We may have 2 or 3 teams, so I consider them they're teams of people. So I have 2 or 3 teams for cleaning, and then 1 or 2 for windows, et cetera, et cetera.
That's great, because like a big issue that a lot of business owners have is they're too in the business. They don't have time to actually grow and scale. And I know a few people that they're either too in the work of the business, so they don't have the ability to grow and scale, or they're in the business development side and they don't actually have a lot of people to do the work because they don't necessarily want to do the work. And so it sounds like you found kind of that good balance.
I did. It took a minute. I've been in business now for 5 years, so I had to, it was a lot of trial and error. So yeah, now I think I have my rhythm on what we need to move forward. But yes, I strictly focus on the project management, selling, and then I let the team do the services.
And explain how you kind of got started here. Like, what gave you the idea to start this business?
As I mentioned earlier, I got my home cleaned, and I thought it was pretty cool that people came in. I was like, cleaning is a pretty cool business. They came in, they did their work, and they went on, and I'm about servicing people. But about a few years ago, I had the opportunity to work for a cleaning company that did commercial services. And I came in, I was a sales director there.
Okay.
And I really liked, the whole idea of going in, making things better. What's so cool about cleaning or any of the services that I do is that there's an end. I was in corporate America for years and it was like Groundhog's Day every day. But in the services that I do, you come in and you're going to get the result and you go, it's done. And I love that.
It's like kind of that instant gratification.
Oh, yes. And you're helping people. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I know there's always that, when you work in corporate America, they're just like a standard job. There's never ending projects. You never actually get something done. It's just kind of just continuous work. And so just having that, I have this project and then it's done, and then this project and then it's done. That's fantastic.
I was in sales, so every year we do a whole year, and then come January I had to start over again. So and I was in sales for like 16, 18 years. So it was a constant 12 months, start over again. 12 months, start over again.
So how do people really work with you? Like, do you have clients that you just have, they have you on retainer that you just come in, or is it kind of one and done?
We have, most of my clients, we do some one and dones, but a lot of my clients are recurring.
Okay.
So we're either coming in once a month, once a week, once every other month, so whatever they need. So I have a lot of recurring accounts. And that's the goal, is to get those clients that need us continuously.
And what do you say the split is between like retainer clients and just what kind of one and dones?
For me now, at this time of year, I'm going to say 70% recurring, 30% one and dones.
Okay, that's actually a great spot to be.
Oh, yeah.
Because you always have that room to grow a little bit, but then you aren't just completely getting bogged down by retainer clients as well.
Absolutely.
So the majority of your business is referral.
Yes.
And then when you aren't getting referrals, how are you finding business?
So that's when I get creative. I do a lot of networking. I'm in a great networking organization.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can drop their name, but
you
they're
can
amazing.
Do whatever you want. Yeah.
LBB. It's an entrepreneurship for women.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing. So I got connected with that. They teach you how to network, gather more business. So that's been quite successful for me. And also social media. As I said, I'm very active on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. That's crucial that you have to be out there constantly.
And how do you, so when you're working on social media, so I was looking at your Facebook and Instagram, I didn't look at your LinkedIn, but I've noticed on your Instagram, especially, you're putting a lot of, quotes, just general like cleaning ideas and just kind of best practices and stuff like that. Is that kind of what you do across the board, or do you speak to individual, like on LinkedIn, do you speak more to that corporate audience, or how does that work?
I kind of, because we're residential and commercial, I cater to, I'm catering to both. I'm reaching out. I'm on Facebook. When I set up ads, I'm just looking for a demographic, whether it's business or commercial. So I don't necessarily lean towards a particular thing. Every now and again, I may go, hey, I'm going to focus on residentials and kind of put something out about that, or maybe commercial. But when I put things out, that's for the mass.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do run ads?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I do. I run ads on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. This is interesting. So you probably already knew this, but my background's in marketing.
Yes.
So I primarily focus on just like advertising, search engine optimization, making you find yourself on Google a little bit better, stuff like that. So when you're running ads, so you're primarily running on Facebook and Instagram.
That's it.
Now, are you just running ads that they bring people to your site? Are you running like lead forms? What are you typically doing when you're running ads?
Just pretty much getting people to the site.
Okay.
And some of them are, most of them are getting people to the site. Again, sometimes I'm trying to generate leads, but mostly just getting people to the site, because if I can get them to the site, they'll be like, okay, I don't need a cleaner right now or a painter right now, but I may. So the goal is to get as many followers and get them to share my content, and get more exposure.
Right. Now, when it comes to creating some content and taking, like, because you take photos of some of your clients' places and things like that, do you have to get permission from them to do that? Or
I do ask them, is it okay for us to publicize their locations?
And how do they feel about like shooting video of you?
They don't have any problems with it. I have not run into any problems with it at all.
Okay.
Not any.
Yeah.
I have really great clients. That's
That's fantastic. Now, what did you do? Kind of describe kind of what you did before this. So you said you worked in corporate America. You worked for some cleaning companies and things like that. Where were you sitting there and you're kind of like, you know what? I could do this for myself.
So again, I was in sales leadership for years, like sales. You know, I really liked the cleaning industry. I really loved it, you know, and I was like, because they did commercial. And I was like, gosh, I really like doing this. You know, I may not necessarily do commercial, but I can focus on residential. And so this kind of like how it came about. I wanted to, you know, I was still working for that company, but to avoid any type of competition, I focused on residentials because I was doing commercial for that company. Now, once I ventured out on my own, you know, once I left and wanted to do it full time because I loved it, and I saw, I like the idea of hiring people to give them work. And I also love the idea of going in and helping people get organized and making things great. So I wanted to do it full time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I was like, I can do this. Like, I can get out here and do this on my own.
Well, it's really cool because you mentioned two things here. You know, just you're seeing it. You're like, I can do this on my own. I kind of want to do this on my own and kind of be your own boss. And then the other aspect of it that I find interesting is you mentioned the ability to hire people and give them work.
I love that, and I love that in corporate America. I did a lot of hiring. That was the gratification for me, was giving people an opportunity to grow and to, you know, to produce generational wealth or whatever. They had an opportunity to get their life started and do it the right way. So this is an opportunity for me to sit down with people, pick their brains, and see if we can get into some type of partnership, because I like to call it a partnership. Everyone who works for me, that works with me, we're partners in this thing. So to me, I'm giving somebody more leads. You know, they may do it on, you know, on their own, but I'm giving them an opportunity to give them more leads through my company as well. Yeah, no,
I think that's the part that I find most compelling about what you said and about your business, is just like that mindset of not just growing your business, but, you know, working with other people and helping other people. A big part of like why I started this podcast. So it was originally because I, you know, was growing something and I wanted to just kind of create content for myself. And then as it started to grow, as I started meeting new people, I started realizing, oh, you know, I struggle with creating content. Other businesses and other people obviously do as well. Like, what if we just kind of transitioned this into a, you know, we bring small businesses on, we talk about what they're doing, and then we just promote them in some way, because there's, you know, your company you would consider a small business.
Yes, absolutely.
You're always going to be up against the big guys.
You better believe it.
And
you better believe it.
You don't have the money to outspend them in advertising. So now you just have to, okay, what's that value add that you have that you can beat them? You know, I always quote this to everybody that I meet. I did a podcast with a guy, Captain Beard Co. He sells like beard oils and men's product, like healthy men's products that, and his kind of mission is trying to create better products for guys, because, you know, a lot of the products that guys use for self-care, you know, they affect hormone levels. Women are the same way. You know, a lot of products out there just like affect different hormones and things like that. And so trying to create cleaner products. And he said, I won't stop until I put Procter and Gamble out of business. And I always thought that was like the funniest, the best thing in the world.
Go for it.
Right. And that's what I find awesome about like a business like yours as well, is that you aren't just doing this for yourself. You're doing it to help other people and give them more opportunities. And that's one thing that will always draw people to you.
I totally agree. I believe this. And I learned this in my networking group, LBB, and it was about
what does LBB stand for?
Little Black Book.
Okay.
Love it. I love them. But we talk about your goal should be to go in and help somebody else. And the residuals will come. But if you go into the mindset of, I'm going in to help the client or whomever I hire to work, if I focus on helping, the residuals will come. But you focus on helping.
Right. And it's like, someone comes up to you and they're like, what's the best way to do this? And you just kind of give them that information.
Yeah.
And then most people realize, I don't want to do that myself.
Exactly.
So then they hire. Yeah.
Exactly, because I put out ads all the time, or I'll say, I guess, advertisement all the time about just giving tips on things.
Right.
And the goal is for them to say, hey, I need this done, but I don't want to do it, you know, and that's where I come in. But it's about educating and then someone realizing, I can't do this on my own. Let me call a professional.
Yeah, that's how I've kind of structured a lot of what I do as well. You know, when I started primarily focusing on search engine optimization, I just had a lot of people that really they kind of knew what it was, but they weren't really sure how to implement it or what to do, because it's a little tricky. It is very technical. And so I'll just go and I'll sit down with people and I'll say, hey, this is what you should do. I see your website looks like this, or this is what it's doing. These are the little tweaks that you can make and we'll do wonders for you.
Yes.
And then they're like, okay, cool. And then they do the tweaks, and then usually what ends up happening is they go, hey, this is a lot of work. Can you just do this for me? It's like, yeah, all right, now let's talk. You know? So
that's why you educate. And so when you educate, people know better, and they go, when you know better, you do better. It's like, I can't do this, so let me get the professionals in.
Well, and you're in sales, so
Absolutely.
You know more than anyone that a lot of times when people don't buy into something, they either don't know they need it, or they don't understand what they need, or even what you're selling. And that's the one is being able to explain what it is. Because if people don't understand something, they're done. They don't want anything to do with it.
Yes.
Because, and also even if they do buy into it, they aren't going to be a good client because they just aren't quite sure exactly what they bought into.
Exactly. And they're not, and that's so ironic that you say that, because every now and again, I'll have a client that does not appreciate the value. Well, I won't say they don't appreciate it. They'll just say, that seems like a lot of money, you know, for what you're doing, until we stop. And then they go, oh my goodness, I get the value now.
Right.
You know, the cleaning speaks for itself. Right. You know, you can tell me, I think your pricing is overrated, until we stop. And then you go, oh my goodness, the service speaks for itself in what I do, period.
Well, and it's, you know, again, one of the things that you probably know more than anybody is, as a business owner, time is everything.
You better believe it.
And you spend so much time doing these mundane tasks that just end up, like, how many sales could you have made in the 3 hours that it took you to clean your entire house?
You're right.
You know, how many, you know, if you're creating content to help, like, how many blog posts could you have written? How many ads could you have set up? Like, how many social posts could you have made that now you're going to be pressed because you're just like, I don't have any time. And it's like, well, I just spent 3 hours cleaning my house. What is that worth to me?
Exactly.
If I made 50 calls within that 3 hours and I sold 2 of them, you know, if you do cold calling or something like that, like I sold 2 calls, I made 50 calls. I sold 2 pieces of business, retainer clients, and over the course of the entire year, or over the course of the entire contract, I've made $10K a piece on them. And it's like, or I could have just cleaned my house for 3 hours. It's crazy when you really break it down into how much is your time worth.
Yes.
And if you could pay somebody to do that for you at a lower cost than what it would cost you to do that, then I think that's worth it.
It's a no-brainer.
Right.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, one thing in my industry, there's these websites out there. They're called made for advertising websites. And the sole purpose of these websites, it's actually a genius business. The sole purpose of these websites is to create a bunch of content and rank really well on Google, and then also spend money in advertising and bring enough users to the site at a lower cost than the amount of money that they make off of that user for serving them ads on their website. And that's what always makes me think about something like this, is that when they bring a user to the website, say for every user they bring to the website is $1.
Okay.
But they spent 25 cents to get that user there. Then they're making 75 cents off of that user, it's completely worth their time to spend that money to bring the user to the site. And I find it comparable to this, you know, if in your business, say you make over the course of a week, based off the amount of money that you bring in, say you make $100 an hour.
Okay.
But it costs you $25 an hour to have someone clean your house. I'm ignorant on what it actually costs. Then that's 100% worth it, because you can do whatever you want. You just make slightly less hours.
You freed yourself up to do other things that are more productive. Well, not that cleaning is not productive, but to do other things to be productive.
Right. There's a never-ending list.
Yeah.
Especially like when you own your own home, you have a family. Like, there's a never-ending list of things to do. So what is your typical client? Like, what if you had to identify? Okay, let me give you an example. Make this easier. So for me, if I had to identify my ideal client, it's someone who runs their own business, doesn't have a lot of time to do some of the everyday tasks that they should do to get more business, and obviously, like I said, the amount of money that they would be paying me is less than what it would actually cost them to do it themselves.
Okay.
That's an ideal client. Your ideal client, what is the mentality of that person when they're looking for a service like yours?
My ideal client is probably a working person, because I work with a lot of women, you know, the mom of the house, etc. And they just don't have time to do it. They don't have time to clean the house properly like they should. So they call me to take care of that for them. So it's that working woman who doesn't have time to do it. Everyone is working and they're busy and they're doing other things, and they need to keep their home organized, you know, whether they have kids, pets, or whatever. And so that's when we come in and make sure that they're good.
Yeah, it's funny because I think a lot of people think, like, my wife stays at home and we have a kid, one on the way. And I mean, a lot of people think, thank you. A lot of people think that, okay, well, when you're a stay-at-home mom, well, you know, you're just watching the kid, so do all these other chores. And it's like, I'm working 24 hours a day, a lot of times, and I'm helping when and where I can, but it's still the same time, like, you don't have time to do some of the littlest things that you feel like you should be able to do. Like, it's so funny, like the day where you are taking care of the kid, you do the dishes, maybe you cook lunch or, you know, dinner or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, I wasn't able to sweep the floor. Now the floor is all messy and I'm stepping on crumbs. Or, okay, tomorrow I'm going to sweep the floor and I, you know, cook dishes. Well, shoot, now I can't cook. It's like, there's always one thing that is taking the back seat, so you can't ever get all of it done. And that's where a service like yours is perfect, because no one, no offense,
but go ahead.
No one likes cleaning.
They don't. They don't. Some of the people who clean with me, they do like it. They have a passion for it, but people don't. You know, and you bring that up, and we have did a one-time clean maybe for a stay-at-home mom, or you know, we had a client, her husband purchased cleaning services from her just for her as a gift. Yeah. And we came in and got everything organized, you know. So those are those one hits where we come in and maybe help the mom get organized, and then we may come back later on, but they just need someone to come in and get it together, because they are overwhelmed and they have little ones and things like that.
Now, when you clean, a lot of times, are people home usually, or are they not home? How does it typically work?
It's a little mixture of both. You know, some are home and some aren't. It really doesn't matter to us. So we do either or. But I think I have more, you know, because everybody's not comfortable with people being in their homes by themselves, Right. So they'll be there. But as my clients build a relationship with us, they usually are more comfortable saying, okay, you know, the keys, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know, and we go in and take care of everything. But they can be home. No big deal whatsoever.
And that leads me to kind of a bigger question. What do you say to those people? Because my wife thinks this way. To those people who know that it would be so nice to have someone just kind of do all that for them, but are just a little uncomfortable with having a stranger come in, even if they are home. What do you say to people that give that kind of pushback to you?
Well, I'm very, first of all, when I meet a client, I'm very warm and welcoming because I love people, and it's about building their rapport. It starts with me.
Right.
So regardless of who's coming in behind me, it starts with me. So if I can set the standard, if I can build trust with that client, they're usually comfortable. Once they met me, we've talked, we've exchanged on what we're gonna do, what we're gonna schedule. So by the time my people are there, they're more comfortable. And then again, after we've cleaned a few times and there's like, oh, they're cool, then we're good. But it's about the rapport that I build with that client when I first meet them.
Mm-hmm. And then how, when it comes to your hiring process, how do you vet your employees? How do you, is it a lot of, people that that are kind of referring employees to you, or how,
it's the same. I have not lost having everything referred in for me. I have time to build. I don't have to just go out and grab people. I tried to do that initially, putting ads out on help wanted places saying I need people, and it just didn't work. So again, even like with the client, even with the workers, everything is referrals. Mm-hmm. Usually everyone who works for me now was referred in to me.
Mm-hmm. That's I
it's
think
like
that's
a little
the best.
family. I sit down with them. We have a chat. We have an understanding about what HAC represents, etc. And we go from there. But I build rapport with everyone. I meet with every single person after the referral. So I haven't hired anyone in a couple of years that has not been referred to me. That's been the best person for me, the best partner.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. And even, if your clients are being referred to you as well, there's always that, the person referring them doesn't want to be, they're referring them to you. You guys have developed a relationship. That person doesn't want to be embarrassed by the person, the client, or the worker. And so you kind of have not just you that can hold them accountable, but you have the people that referred them that are also holding them.
There's a lot of skin in the game, you know? Yeah.
Right. There's friendships, there's relationships.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's referrals across the board. Referrals are always the best form of business.
I totally agree. I'll take those all day. It's worth me taking my time to do it right, to wait on the referrals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, we will take those clients that aren't referrals, but the referrals are the best clients and the best partners to work with, hands down.
So from right now till 10 years from now, where do you kind of see your business?
Gosh, I'm going to still be around, and I just see us continuing to grow, continuing to add services that my clients need. What's been so cool about what we've been able to do over the past 5 years is a client, if there may be something that they need, and I'm like, you know what, that's a great idea, and I add it. So I just see this thing where I would like to be in another state. I'm from Arkansas. I'm an Arkansas girl. I'm a Southern girl.
Oh, okay.
I would love to branch out and start the same thing there that I have here. So that's my goal. I tried it, but the pandemic came, so I had to kind of scale back. But that's my goal, is to kind of venture out. I would like to maybe have one in Arkansas, Georgia, Texas, kind of franchise myself out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then how do you see yourself doing that? Like what do you kind of see as like the first step?
Well, the first step is building that relationship. I have to find people in those areas that can be me, because I'm my brand, and I've been successful because I've been out there. I'm passionate about it. So it's about
finding people that can run it?
Can run it, yeah.
Okay.
Finding people, because once we get it running, the clients will come, just like they did here in Missouri. They'll come in Arkansas. I'm from there. I think it will be huge there because I was born and raised there.
Where from in Arkansas?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock. Okay,
yep.
Cool. Yeah, there's a company down there that I work with that they're based in Little Rock. So
okay.
I've been there a few times.
Have you heard of the Arkansas Razorbacks?
Yeah.
I went to college there. So,
okay, cool.
Oh yeah, I graduated from there. So there's Fayetteville. I can start one in Fayetteville, one in Little Rock, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, I've gone to a couple games in the stadium right there, across the river.
We're proud of our little stadium.
Yeah. I love it. It's like a great stadium.
Yeah.
I was a little spoiled though. My first time in that stadium, I was actually the company paid for it, so I was in a suite.
Okay.
So I got a little spoiled there, like a little hot dog bar and stuff, and then the game was fantastic. No, it's great. I love. So I went to Mizzou for a while, and then I finished everything out at St. Louis University.
Okay.
And so I always think it's SLU as well. Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. That's where I went. And I always find it funny because I know a lot of people, have a lot of friends that are big Razorback fans.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of friends that are big, they're big like Mizzou fans and stuff. And once a year, Mizzou and Arkansas always play each other in every sport.
Oh yeah, that's
and
a
so
big
it's always
deal.
like
Okay.
It's always a fun one.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
That's great. Okay, so you went to Arkansas.
U of A, in Fayetteville.
And what did you major in?
Communications.
Communications. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you already kind of set up, like ready to.
Let's
you're
just
already
say
kind
this:
of like a business
I was
owner.
born to do what I'm doing, plain and simple. I was born to be in sales, to be out there with the people. Mm-hmm. That's just my gift, and I know that's why I'm here.
It's funny that everybody that I know, so I majored in communications as well.
Okay.
Everybody that I know that majored in communications rarely ever are just like working for some company doing something like that. You know, it's like they're all like, they might go into marketing or advertising or things like that. But for the most part, most people that major in communications always end up to do like something else.
Because we're artistic, we're artists, we are, you know, we're open, we're free. You know, communications is that thing. You can do a lot of things with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're usually business owners, or I know at SLU, all of my classes were with the entire basketball team. The whole basketball team majored in communications for the most part. So it was.
And let's be honest, it was supposed to be one of those easier majors.
Well, yeah, that's why I took it. If you would have seen my grades, that's the major.
Hey, we're not going to even talk about it.
Right. Well, it's funny because like I always liked marketing, and so when I talked to my advisor about going into marketing, they're like, okay, well, you'll go to the business school, you'll take some marketing classes. Here it is. There's like 50,000 math classes and statistics, and I was like, I don't think I'll do that. Thank you for the offer. I think I'll go over into communications where it's like no math classes. It's all just like creative stuff, and then you graduate and do the exact same thing that all the people that went a much harder route are going. So communications majors are not only creative and artistic, but we're just smarter because we figured an easier way to do what everybody else did. Exactly.
Not a lot of math and all that stuff.
No,
science.
I can't handle that. I'll take a painting class.
Yeah. The goal was to get the degree, right?
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's great. So expanding down to Arkansas, probably like the kind of the first go because you know the area and stuff. And Arkansas, Little Rock especially, is kind of cool because it's kind of like St. Louis in a way, where it's kind of like a big small town.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit, and everybody kind of knows each other.
Exactly. We're not driving tractors and tumbleweeds not blowing on the street. It's an actual city.
Yeah, but if you go 30 minutes outside of the city, that's what everybody's doing.
True.
And that's how it was here. Like it's so funny how much things have changed. So I grew up in Florissant. When I grew up, it was all cornfields. Like, and then I think in like 2006, 2007, all those people, they sold their land and just like, it's all houses now, you know? And that was a really interesting time. It's just like, it's weird looking back at, grew up almost what people would consider a rural area, which when you look at it now, it's not a rural area.
No.
And whatsoever.
No.
Yeah, I know, like Herman Farm. Did you ever go there?
Herman Farm? No.
Yeah, it was kind of on the back roads of Old Halls Ferry. Not Old Halls Ferry. What are those back roads there?
Why does that sound familiar? Because since I'm not from here, you know, even though I've been here a long time, I just know certain areas.
When did you move here?
Oh my gosh. If I tell you when I moved here, you'll know how old I am. But no, it was probably 1996.
Okay, 96. So I think they sold to build houses, I think during that whole housing boom back in like 2006, 2007 era. So like you go there and they had like, you know, the hay mazes and the slides, and then you go apple picking and you do all that type of stuff. And then it was like the last really cool place that was out there, and then they sold, and now it's all houses.
Okay,
and stuff. So
yeah.
It's kind of a bummer, but
things change.
It's not yeah, right. No, that's so where. I think one of the other questions I had for you is like, as you're thinking about building the business and expanding, what is that element that you feel you not necessarily need the most help in, but that you're going to have to spend more time on to try to figure out and do? Hands
down, advertisement. As I grow, there's a great magazine that I want to get in, hopefully in the next quarter. It's an awesome, magazines. It's advertisement. I gotta be marketable, and it takes money to do that. And so that's my goal, is to get out there and get exposure in as many areas as I possibly can. So advertisement for me is going to be key.
To challenge you on that a little bit, I don't think it takes as much money as a lot of people think.
Okay, let's talk about
That's a common sentiment that I hear with a lot of people in trying to grow their businesses. Well, I need to advertise. I need to do that. I need money. I need to, there's a couple types of advertising that I think are super effective.
Okay.
And they're they're super effective for different reasons. Like there's kind of that type of advertisement where it just kind of gets your name out there. Like if you are featured in Forbes or something like that. It doesn't give you a whole bunch of reach to a new audience, but it's kind of like you could say I was featured in Forbes, and that adds that little bit of the trust, kind of that brand trust onto you if you're featured in Forbes in a way, or like various other magazines. But I think one of the really cool things that I've been noticing with a lot of big growing businesses is the organic reach that people are getting on, Instagram when they're posting reels, and TikTok especially.
Okay.
There's a lot of businesses out there that, I think, especially some of the younger generation, they want to feel connected to the brands that they're dealing with.
That's so ironic that you said that. I have a daughter, she's 22, and that's the one place that I don't have a business page at. It's on TikTok. And she was like, Mom, you need to get your business out on TikTok. I mean, she literally just told me that the other day. She was like, you need to get your business out on TikTok.
Well, so, it's huge. And, we've done some tests on it and stuff like that. We post the exact same video piece of content on Instagram Reels and TikTok. And Instagram, you might get, when you're just starting off, you might get 300-400 views. That exact same video on TikTok's getting 1,000. And the organic reach is huge. And it's funny because you don't have to necessarily get, they're going to reward you for posting consistently and interacting with people like every other social platform. But there's the way the algorithm works is you could post a reel and a TikTok. You do it every day for 30 days. And all of a sudden, one is just going to hit and blow up. Where, when you're posting on Instagram and things like that, you might have that happen. But a lot of times, Instagram's going to say, well, we don't want to push that too much because they aren't commenting with other users. They aren't interacting with other users as much. So we're going to hold them back a little bit until they show us that they're really into our platform. Or TikTok, you could post one video. And it goes viral and it blows up. And I think that's one of the cool things is I would really recommend getting on there.
I mean, this is my second sign to do it, so I got to do it now. My daughter was last week and you this week. And it's easy because, believe it or not, during the pandemic, I actually had a personal TikTok page. So I know the exposure that they can give you. So it would be cool to put my business out there. I get it. I get TikTok.
Right. And they do have some advertising. I don't have an opinion on it just yet on how well it works, but it's a different type of content. You might not necessarily be posting edited videos of what you're doing, but you're just posting you're posting stuff like this, like a video of me and you talking, and just saying different points. You're posting a video of your most viral video on TikTok might be you just talking to the camera about a concept about, hey, I just went into this house. Here's the thing that they were worried about. Here's how we handled it.
Smart. That's good.
Hey, if you're ever worried about having someone come into your house, these are the benefits of it. These are the things. These are the questions that you should ask the person you're going to hire to clean your house. Do you document? What do you do? Do you take pictures before and after? Do you, all the kind of best practices, things that consumers should do before hiring a business like yours.
Smart.
And it just kind of adds to you're adding you as like a thought leader in the space.
I like that. I am doing it. I'm comfortable with TikTok, so I'm gonna do it for sure.
You should. And
I'm definitely gonna do it.
Like the one thing that I'm still not great at, but trying to get my mindset into, is everything that you do is content. If you want to promote your brand and you want to have this continuous flow of content, everything that you do is content. Whether it's you walk in here before you sit down with me and you just kind of set up your phone and you do a little time lapse of you and your friends talking, and kind of get in, like your caption is getting ready for a podcast or something. And
that's good.
And it's just like different things like that you don't typically think about, that are just mundane tasks that you're doing every day. You could record yourself reaching out to a new potential client, and how that went, like without giving away too much information, and then just kind of talk about here's the objections that they had to our services. Here's how I combated that. We'll see if it works out, and then you can do a follow-up video. But just kind of that organic feel, that unedited feel that just makes you more relatable.
And then it costs me anything.
It's absolutely free.
Absolutely free.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna do it. I mean, you're the second person. That's my warrant, my sign to make it happen. So I'll make it happen.
Do it.
And maybe I can put us out there when I set up
that'd
the
be
page.
great.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
And I will.
You should.
Oh, absolutely.
It's great. I'm on TikTok a little bit. It's a much harder platform to be on because it's all video based.
Right.
People do have some photos on there, and they do well for the most part, as long as it's valuable information that people can read and kind of swipe through. But video is kind of the king on that platform. And a lot of times what I do is I use TikTok to try to draw people to my Instagram and stuff. So the majority of my clients on Instagram, and I put TikToks out there to help draw people to it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then
I have to follow you too. I will look for you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please do.
Absolutely.
So we met because of Cigar Buddies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sheldon and them, they introduced us.
Yes.
So you're part of that group as well.
I am.
Okay. So you're on their Facebook page and.
Oh yeah, I'm a follower there. It's amazing. I have the T-shirts and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm a cigar beauty.
Cigar beauty.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I wanted to ask you as well. So when I was talking to them, they said,
and that podcast was good, by the way. I watched that.
You liked it?
Oh
okay.
Yeah, it was good.
I was really nervous about it because we were in that room back there, and it has a little more of an echo than I was anticipating, and so the sound quality is just a little weird. Because normally in here, like, it's not going to be perfect studio sound quality because you're in a big room. There's other background noise and stuff. So I was nervous about it. I'm glad you liked it.
That's good.
The one thing that we were talking to them about, they said that with their apparel and kind of their brand, like, it's about 70% females are into their brand, and about 30% males.
I believe it. Like, I love it. I have like 3 or 4 shirts, T-shirts, polos. I just like, they're cute. And it's all kind of different. They have all kind of different little designs. We love it. Yes.
What got you into like cigars and all of that?
Gosh, it was, business. The first place that I went, I was doing business, some years back, and I went to the Ritz-Carlton, and because they have a cigar lounge there.
I did not know that.
And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then we opened up a cigar bar. Well, someone opened up a cigar bar in North County called Smoke and Sip.
Yep.
And so I went in there.
I know that place.
Love Smoke and Sip, by the way. They're awesome.
That's where I went. My brother-in-law took me there for he missed my diaper party for my first baby. He's like, I'll just take you out. So he handed me a box of diapers, and then we went into that place, and it was great.
Let me just say this. If you're in North County, you love a good cigar and a good drink, you should definitely stop by Smoke and Sip.
It's packed, though. I think we went on a weekend. It was
definitely on the weekends, but if you go during the week, during the day, it's great. So when they opened up, I kind of started diving more into the cigar scene. I would go in for a drink, and then I smelled the smoke, and I was like, maybe I should try a cigar. Yeah. So it's definitely something cool to do. Just kind of relax and chill at times.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and how did you meet like Sheldon and them?
Smoke and Sip. You know that whole
you met them
setting.
there. Okay,
I mean, it's a lot of you meet a lot of people there.
Right.
Like a lot of people. It's like a Cheers. It's literally a Cheers. Everybody knows everybody for the most part. On the weekends, it's crowded. You say, but like. During the weekday, I mean, it's nothing for people to be up there at 11, 12 o'clock in the daytime at lunch or at break or right after work. It's like our own little Cheers, and everybody knows each other.
I kind of got that vibe from that place.
Oh,
A lot of cigar lounges are like that, like Hill Cigars, Grand Cru, and Soulard, if you've ever been there.
Mm-hmm.
I got that vibe when I walked in there, too, because I walked in there with a buddy one time, and everybody was talking, and it was a really funny situation. I walk in the door, and everybody just kind of like stopped talking for a second, stared, and I was just like, hey, and then everybody went back in. It's like, okay, cool. I was like, so clearly everybody knows each other there except me.
Literally, you play, but then guess what? They would welcome you with open arms.
Oh, absolutely.
You could be a part of the family. But I that's one of my, besides Lid, Smoke and Sip, it's one of my other favorite spots. So these are my two favorite places to be. Love both of them.
Yeah.
Tremendously.
Well, that's the one thing that I always find, like, cigars have always been that one, I don't even know how to, recreational activity. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it. Recreational activity
I think that's a fair name for it. It's just
they kind of attract similar people. They attract just kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like so from my perspective, the one thing that I've always found cool about just like going to cigar bars and stuff like that is that you always meet interesting people that have similar interests to you, not just cigars. Like, meet a business owner or, someone.
Tons of business owners in there.
Right.
As a matter of fact, my girlfriend who's sitting over here, we met at Smoke and Sip actually.
Oh,
and
really?
I love her like it's like we've been friends forever, and met her in Smoke and Sip, literally.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people I've met that I talk to on a regular basis now were at
it's a little community,
sort of cigar lounge.
And people may say the cigars are taboo and whatever. It's just a personal thing, but it's just a place to get together, and I call it fellowshipping.
Right.
Kind of just chilling. It's like having a drink, but you add a cigar to it.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't consider cigars taboo. I would consider them.
You'd be surprised at people that go, oh, cigar, but
they don't smoke cigar. They never have. It's like people who have never tried. People who've never tried whiskey, for example. They don't know what it's like. All they know is that one time in college they took a shot of whiskey and they're just like, oh, I can't do it. It's like, no, sit down and take a sip of whiskey.
Exactly.
Sit down and try a cigar.
Open your mind.
Right. And cigars are, I said this with, on the Cigar Buddies podcast and it was like cigars are kind of that last element of luxury products, that people are sitting down. Because even whiskey now, like everybody's drinking whiskey. Everybody's trying different whiskeys, wine, same thing. And then like all of a sudden, but then like cigars are still kind of like that luxury item that people go, they enjoy. Everybody, if that person's smoking a cigar, they're probably cool. They probably have something in common with you.
Cigar smokers are the most chill people. Like you don't see a disgruntled cigar smoker. Everybody in there is just chill and just in there to relax.
Right. I used to bartend, and so much you would. People are drinking and stuff like that. There's always fights. There's always something. But I've never gone, even with alcohol. I've never gone to a cigar bar and people get in some sort of like heated disagreement. If there's a disagreement on something, it's usually it's funny. I've been to a bunch of cigar bars where there's everybody sitting around, and one thing that you just don't do out at places, especially bars, you don't talk about politics. You know,
I agree.
I've been to cigar bars where people talk about politics, and it's not the same. You have people completely on different sides.
It's very divisive.
But they're not. But it's not the same as out at a bar or out someplace else. Like people are just sitting talking politics, even at a cigar bar, and it's fine. You know,
you think it's chill there, and you're probably right, because
it's weird.
It's probably because it's cigar bars. They're like minds there, you know.
Yeah.
So
or not even necessarily like minds politically, but like minds and just like in general. You know, like we might not agree on the same things all the time, but there's a general aspect of our lives that we agree on.
I agree.
You
Cigar smokers are chill people.
Right.
Period.
Right. Yeah.
They're chill
great.
people.
Well, this was fantastic. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And I think what you're doing is absolutely phenomenal. And as I told you before, it's about helping people, and the rest comes to you.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're doing. And I know you're already a success, but I know you're going to be an even bigger success. You are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad Sheldon introduced us and everything. I appreciate you coming on.
And thank you for having me.